Hey everyone, take a look at this. One of these spreads is made from a single ingredient that humans have been eating for literally 10,000 years. The other? It was invented in a French laboratory in 1869 and can contain up to 20 different chemicals, some of which didn't even exist in nature until we created them. But here's the absolutely wild part. For over 5 decades, doctors, nutritionists, and health organizations told us that the natural one would clog our arteries and kill us, while the laboratory creation would save our lives and protect our hearts. They were catastrophically, embarrassingly wrong. Today, we're going deep into the chemistry of butter and margarine, molecule by molecule, ingredient by ingredient. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you're going to look at your refrigerator very differently. Let's get into it. So let's start with butter, because honestly, it's almost boring in its simplicity. You know what's in butter? Cream, that's it. Well, okay, sometimes salt. Real butter, the kind your great-grandmother made, has exactly one ingredient, cream from milk. You churn cream, the fat molecules clump together, you drain off the liquid, and boom, you've got butter. Now let's talk about what's actually in that cream at the molecular level, because this is where it gets interesting. Butter is about 80% fat, 16% water, and the rest is milk proteins and natural minerals. But not all fats are created equal, right? We've all heard about saturated versus unsaturated fats. Butter is roughly 50 to 65% saturated fat, 25 to 30% monounsaturated fat, and about 3 to 4% polyunsaturated fat. And here's what most people don't know. Butter naturally contains some pretty incredible compounds. First, there's butyric acid. Despite the unfortunate name, butyric acid is actually a short-chain fatty acid that feeds the good bacteria in your gut. Recent research suggests it might reduce inflammation in your digestive system. Then you've got fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K2. These aren't added. They're just naturally there. Vitamin K2 especially is fascinating because it helps direct calcium to your bones instead of your arteries. Kind of ironic, given what we were told about butter and heart disease. And if you're getting butter from grass-fed cows, you also get CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, which some studies suggest might have anti-cancer properties. I'm not making health claims here, I'm just telling you what's in it. So why did an entire generation of people come to fear this stuff? 3 words: Ansel Benjamin Keyes. In the 1950s and 60s, this researcher popularized the idea that saturated fat raises cholesterol, cholesterol clogs arteries, and heart attacks follow. His 7-country study became gospel, and butter became public enemy number 1. By the 1970s, butter consumption in America had plummeted. Everyone was terrified of it, and they were all switching to margarine. Let me read you an actual ingredient list from a popular margarine brand: vegetable oil blend, soybean oil, palm kernel oil, water, salt, whey, vegetable monoglycerides, soy lecithin, potassium sorbate and calcium disodium, EDTA to preserve freshness, citric acid, vitamin A, palmitate, beta-carotene for color, natural and artificial flavor. Count them. That's 15 ingredients, and I picked one of the simpler brands. So what's actually happening here? Let's break down the chemistry. Margarine starts with vegetable oils, usually soybean, canola, corn, or palm oil. Now here's the problem. These oils are liquid at room temperature. You can't spread liquid on toast. So how do you make them solid? For most of the 20th century, the answer was hydrogenation. You take liquid vegetable oil, heat it up, blast it with hydrogen gas in the presence of a metal catalyst like nickel or platinum, and boom, you've chemically altered the structure of the fat molecules. But here's where it gets sinister. This process doesn't just make the oil solid, it creates something that barely existed in nature before: trans fats. Without getting too deep into organic chemistry, natural unsaturated fats have a bent shape. That's called a cis configuration. But hydrogenation can flip some of these into a straight shape, a trans configuration. Your body doesn't recognize these molecules. It doesn't know what to do with them. And trans fats? They're legitimately terrible for you. They raise bad cholesterol, lower good cholesterol, promote inflammation, and yes, massively increase heart disease risk, the very thing margarine was supposed to prevent. But wait, there's more. Because margarine isn't just hydrogenated oil. Pure vegetable oil, even when solidified, is kind of grayish white and smells not great. Definitely doesn't look or taste like butter. So what do manufacturers add? Emulsifiers like lecithin or mono and diglycerides to blend the oil and water together. Preservatives like potassium sorbate to keep it from going rancid. Artificial colors, usually beta-carotene, because natural margarine looks unappetizing. Artificial flavors to make it taste like the butter everyone actually wanted. And vitamins A and D added back in to compete with real butter. So why did we think this was healthy? Honestly, marketing. Brilliant, aggressive marketing combined with scientific groupthink. The logic went, butter is animal fat is saturated fat is bad, therefore plant-based alternatives must be good. I can't believe it's not butter. Well, you shouldn't believe it, because it has lots of ingredients and butter has one. And here's the really maddening part. Scientists started finding evidence that trans fats were dangerous as early as the 1990s. But it took until 2018 for the FDA to ban artificial trans fats completely. That's almost 3 decades of people eating something demonstrably worse than what it replaced. So, what does the modern science actually say? In 2015, the U.S. Dietary Guidelines quietly removed their recommendation to limit total fat intake and significantly softened their stance on saturated fat. Multiple large-scale reviews have found that saturated fat consumption isn't strongly linked to heart disease the way we thought. A 2020 study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found no significant association between saturated fat intake and heart disease, stroke, or cardiovascular death. Turns out the real driver of heart disease might be chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and highly processed foods. Not whether you're eating butter or margarine specifically. And those trans fats in margarine, they were absolutely, unquestionably worse than anything in butter ever was. Some researchers estimate that trans fat consumption caused tens of thousands of preventable heart attacks per year in the United States alone. But even modern trans fat-free margarines have issues. They're made from oils that are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. We need some omega-6, but the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 in the Western diet is completely out of balance. Sometimes 20-to-1, when it should be closer to 4-to-1 or even 1-to-1. Excessive omega-6 can promote inflammation, especially when it's not balanced with omega-3s. So what's the real comparison today? Modern margarine has improved. Most brands have eliminated artificial trans fats. Some use better oil blends. A few are actually pretty clean. But here's what I want you to understand. There's a massive quality spectrum. Cheap butter from grain-fed cows in industrial operations. It's still just cream and salt, but it'll have fewer beneficial nutrients. European-style butter or butter from grass-fed cows. You're getting higher levels of omega-3s, CLA, and vitamin K2. The fat profile is actually different. Margarine ranges from surprisingly okay, with maybe 5 ingredients, to absolutely chemical soup, with 20+ ingredients, including things I can't pronounce without a chemistry degree. When might margarine still make sense? If you're vegan, if you have a severe dairy allergy, or if you need to avoid saturated fat for a specific medical condition. But for most people, the evidence suggests butter isn't the villain we thought it was. All right, so what's the practical takeaway here? First, read the ingredient list, always. If butter has 3 ingredients, ask yourself why. If margarine has 18, ask yourself what all those things are doing in there. Second, with butter, simpler is usually better. Butter should be cream, maybe salt. If your butter has more than that, you're not buying butter. You're buying butter spread or something else. Third, if you're buying margarine, look for brands with 0 trans fats and minimal additives. They do exist, but understand you're still getting a processed food engineered in a factory, not something that occurs in nature. But here's my honest take. The real enemy probably isn't butter versus margarine. It's the ultra-processed foods we're spreading them on. We're arguing about toast when we should be asking whether we need to eat toast made from refined white flour every single morning. For 50 years, half a century, We replaced a food our ancestors ate since the dawn of agriculture with a laboratory creation, thinking we were being healthy. We based national dietary policy on incomplete science and corporate-funded research, and millions of people suffered for it. The lesson here isn't just about butter and margarine. It's about questioning nutritional dogma. It's about understanding what we're actually putting in our bodies instead of just trusting marketing claims. And it's about recognizing that sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the old-fashioned choice really is the better one. Your grandmother was right. Butter is fine. Actually, butter is pretty great. If you want more videos where we break down the real science behind the foods we eat every day, no BS, no food fear-mongering, just actual chemistry and research, hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment telling me what food myth you want me to tackle next. Should we talk about eggs, coconut oil, MSG? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next on Why There Is So Many Chemicals in Our Bread.